When we mention some foods, most people have a reflexive response. I'm Will.
I'm Brandon, and today we're rating bread.
Welcome to Official Ratings, boys. Today we're going to be rating bread. We're going to rate it from our best tier. I Ned this through good breads, average breads, poor breads, and the worst dough. Let's start off with a common bread, white bread. I'd say white bread is just average. In fact, I would tend to call it poor. What do you think, Brandon?
I'm just looking at the other options. I think put it in average bread, which potentially we might have to put it lower. I think it's yummy, and like on an all-round basis, I think most people enjoy white bread.
Yeah,
probably
I think
like the biggest sales out of all breads.
Yeah, look, it's certainly an enjoyable bread, but it doesn't add much for flavor. I think white bread's the perfect foil to simple foods.
Yeah, I think it's average.
Yeah, I think it's just an average bread. Very often you can do better, but it's often also better than many other alternatives. So average seems about right. Do you want to go straight into a niche bread?
Hit it. Let's go.
Let's talk about a bread that is extremely popular, and in my opinion, with good reason, naan bread. Naan bread is top tier. Naan bread is great. What do you think, Brandon?
Definitely above average bread, but
you don't know if it can scrape quite up into the top tier?
I don't know if it can be top tier. I'm looking at the other options. Bread is nice. There's going to be lots of top tier options. The reason I think it's not at the top because I feel like it needs like a lot of other things to make it good.
So I would argue that naan bread is one of the breads that you can eat almost as plain as, probably more plain than almost any other bread and still enjoy it. I'm talking things like garlic naan and stuff when I say this.
Yeah, and the naan is good.
But why don't we leave it in good bread? I think the top tiers are going to get very crowded. We'll probably have to do a bit of reordering later. Yeah. All right. Well, while we're on the sort of naan train, let's talk about another flatbread that is, I think, just not quite as good, and that is flatbread itself. I think generic flatbread is just average. What do you think about that?
Yeah, just average.
It's
nothing special.
It's not a bad bread by any means. In fact, it's very hard to make a bad bread, but it is just average. Okay, in my opinion, better than flatbread, but probably not quite on the level of naan, is pita bread. Pita bread's pretty delicious. What do you think?
Yeah, I think pita bread's better than flatbread out of the flatbread type options. So I think it would have to be just above, but it's definitely not as good as naan. Naan's definitely king of the flatbread.
I think I could put pita bread somewhere in the good bread range, but it's going to sit below naan.
I think if pita isn't good bread, naan has to go up.
Yeah, well, I'm agreeing with that. So far, we've got a pretty good spread. We know where the flatbreads sit in the hierarchy. Let's start talking about the loaf breads. All right, so now that we've more or less ticked off the flatbreads, I think we should talk about the breads that come in loaves. And one step below white bread in pretty much every respect is this wholemeal bread. I reckon wholemeal bread's just poor because you get like none of the textural benefit of going to a whole grain bread, but you just get a shittier taste than white bread. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think I think I'm going to range it around white bread because I think white bread is bang in the middle.
Yeah.
And for like sliced bread and normal bread, it's definitely a downgrade. It's not quite dough, but it's not great.
No, it's not a great bread, but way better than wholemeal. And I would argue maybe even better than white bread for many occasions is whole grain bread. What do you think?
Yeah.
Just makes bread more interesting. I'm not saying it's great, and there are times when I would go for white bread, but more often than not, I reckon whole grain's better.
Yeah, I think it's definitely not good bread. It's a bit better than white bread. I think wholemeal definitely doesn't quite do it, whereas whole grain gets it.
Yeah.
It understands what it has to do.
Yeah. All right, we're getting a little bit more into the kind of niche breads now, and these are the ones that people come to, when they're looking for something interesting. So first cab off the rank, sourdough. I reckon sourdough is invariably good bread. Like, sourdough is great. It adds some flavor to bread. It's got a nice texture to it. Goes really well with other things. I don't think it's quite on that absolute top tier level, but sourdough just takes everything good about bread and just makes it a bit better.
Sourdough is definitely a pretty good option. Definitely a good bread. Actually, I had breakfast the other day and I got offered two options. Sourdough and gluten-free bread. Now, sourdough is really good. It was instantly sourdough, which made me realize at that point, gluten-free bread sucks.
Gluten-free bread is terrible. Gluten-free bread actually toasts quite well, but if you have to toast bread to make it even remotely edible, it's dough. And gluten-free bread is pretty average. You know what else is this is going to be controversial because I feel like you're going to disagree with me. You know what else just sucks as a bread?
Uh-oh.
Hot dog buns.
Okay, there you go. Explain.
Hot dog buns are just boring. Like, if you're having a sausage sandwich, you get a piece of white bread and you fold it in half and put a sausage in it, it's better. The only occasion when a hot dog bun is like justified is when you're having a hot dog. And I don't even think hot dogs are that good. So you could almost improve a hot dog, in my opinion, by just folding it between white bread. Hot dog buns are just average. They don't have the depth to hold a lot of other material as well. Like when you get a hot dog and they put like toppings on it instead of just the sausage, it's kind of shitty in a hot dog bun. But you can do that really well in white bread. So it's got one specific function and it doesn't even do it well.
Okay, let me give you a scenario. If we have someone wants to give you a hot dog, there's two options: white bread or hot dog bun.
White bread.
I just disagree. I don't think, as you said it's average. I think it's yummy. Let's meet in the middle and go poor bread.
Well, it is a poor bread because it only has one use, and I don't think it does it well. So I would put it in dough, but I'm happy for it to be like bottom tier poor.
Poor, please bottom tier. It's so yum.
Okay, I'll give you that because these are the official ratings. I don't want to like unfairly bias them, but it sucks. Okay, how about surely though you can agree that bagels are like a top tier bread. I'm talking right up in I need this or good breads. Bagels are as good as they come. You know, there's something about getting stuff and putting a hole in it that makes it better. Think about like donuts.
Yep.
That's the only other example.
It's easy to grip.
Yeah, very easy to grip. Great with fillings. And you can get bagels that are like sweet, savory. You know, bagels are a very, very good bread.
Oh, yes, definitely top two. I would maybe say it's sort of like naan in a way where it's pushing S tier. I think naan's definitely now, it's I need this.
Yeah.
Oh, it's hard. I'll say let's leave it there for now.
Yeah. Okay. A bread that I think kind of just suffers from being who it is pana de casa. Pana de casa is like legitimately really nice, but it's just one of those things where like you get pana de casa so you can like break off bits of it and dip it in stuff, and it just doesn't serve, like we think of bread as serving functions, you know, making sandwiches, you know, having as toast and stuff. You can't really do that with pana de casa. It's very limited. And like it's very yummy, but it's just not got the versatility to push up into the higher tiers.
Do you think it's worse than whole grain bread?
I think it loses to whole grain bread on versatility, but it doesn't lose to it on flavor. I think that's a real toss up. Would you put it above it?
I don't really mind. It's definitely above white bread because it's sort of like a better white bread.
Yeah,
so I say white bread's in the middle and it's better than it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. How about baguettes? So baguettes, I've got really mixed feelings for because on the one hand, they're like one of the most...
By the way, I think you just mixed it up. I think they're baguettes. I think that is...
No, I'm quite sure that's the opposite.
Are you sure?
No. Look, I think baguettes are like a really good sandwich bread. They've got a lot of, like, they're delicious. They got great texture, but I just can't see them pushing up above average. I just think they're again just limited. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think the texture is that great, to be honest, in baguettes. I think they're good. Like, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But like, top four right now, completely outclass it.
Yeah.
It's not a poor bread. Yeah, I think it's above white bread. Again, same sort of reason. It's like white bread sets the middle ground, and it's a better white bread.
All right. Yeah, I can go for that. Okay. Breadsticks. These are just flat average. I'm sorry. Like, when somebody cracks out breadsticks and says, have this, it literally tastes stale. It's like, it's all crust and nothing else. I can't imagine a situation in which breadsticks have improved a meal. Like, average. You use them to dip into stuff, don't you? Pretty much.
That's it.
Or get chips. Like, they're just, breadsticks are a joke. They are a poor bread. And if you got a gluten-free breadstick, that'd be just catastrophic. All right, what about brioche bread? I actually have only half-formed thoughts on brioche bread because it makes certain things delicious, but it doesn't have that texture that makes bread really good. It doesn't hold a sandwich very well. It's almost a bit too sweet to do its job well half the time, and I think, to me, it loses points for that. Like, I'd be putting it somewhere in this sort of poor bread through maybe low-tier average bread range, you know? What do you think?
I think it's a poor bread. I think it, like... When we define bread has a job.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's a couple of things. Either you can eat on your own, or it's mixes with things.
Yeah.
And it clearly doesn't do both well.
Yeah.
But it's not gross. So
yeah, no, it's not gross bread, but you could just do a better job with almost anything else most of the time. Yeah. Alrighty, we're into the sweet breads now. So, fairy bread is legit poor.
Yes.
I'm actually surprised by how many people think fairy bread is good.
Clueless.
Fairy bread is a placebo bread. Like, you've
Yes.
basically gotten white bread, and then you've just sprinkled some stuff on it that doesn't even taste like much.
I know, it doesn't. There's no flavor. Like, it's just colourful.
Yeah, you get hype on it because it's colourful, but it's literally the worst dessert food. Fairy bread stinks. Like,
I think it's also not just it's placebo, plus like it's a nostalgia factor when you're a kid.
Yeah.
Your mum hypes you up, you get fairy bread if you take out the trash, and you get it and you think this is great, but it's honestly not that good.
no, this is like, and these are official ratings as well, so we don't want to give points to things for nostalgia, which is just
Exactly.
like, you know, completely unmeasurable. It's a poor bread.
It's poor.
What I actually rate pretty highly though is raisin bread. I think raisin bread is like possibly the best toasting bread for just eat it on its own toast. I don't know, just because of the lack of versatility, whether I can push it into the top tiers here, but it is a really good bread.
Yeah,
What do you think about raisin bread?
because when you toast it, I could possibly S tier. Like, I need this.
Yeah.
I have like, it's a lot of good times with raisin bread.
It's just that
It's just-
without the versatility of
Yeah.
something like naan or a bagel, I just don't know that I can justify putting it that high, but it is so good. I think raisin bread is the classic example of a specialist food that loses out to generalists that can just do its job adequately and more.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very good bread, and I think it's unlucky to not sit higher in the ranks, but it is what it is. Final bread to rate, banana bread. That's just straight S tier. That's inarguable.
I literally have it like nearly every morning.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous how much I have banana bread.
Yeah, banana bread is a great food, and although we've sort of, for objective reasons, kept other breads down below the S tier for being not versatile enough, banana bread is just that good. It has to be up there.
I'll disagree with versatility. I think it's very versatile.
You reckon you can make a banana bread burger?
I think I could, and I would enjoy it too. Like, hands down, I'm not joking.
I don't know if I'm right there with you, but I'd be willing to try
Okay.
it. That's how good banana bread is, that I could see it in a really dubious setting and be like, I'll give it a go. Like, if somebody said banana bread and Vegemite, I'd go it just to see.
100%. And also, when you like toast or like heat up banana bread,
Yeah.
it gets crusty on the outside,
Yeah.
which is really yum. But you can also just have it cold, like the ones you buy from Woolworths, and
Literally.
it's like packeted.
Yeah, you take it straight out of a fridge, freezing, and it's great. Heat it up,
Yeah.
great, and it's great for different reasons. It's not that it's like objectively greater, it's literally just differently great.
All right, and just because this is official ratings, boys, it's the best bread.
I can roll with that. All right, so that's the run through of breads. You now know which breads you need, which breads are good, which ones are average poor, and which breads are just straight dough. Breads?
Get rated.